Well, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Project Time Garage. Today we're back on Project Freedom. This is a 2000 Ford F250 with a 7.3 diesel in it. You guys have asked me over and over to do videos on this truck anytime I have something to work on. And historically, it's been a pretty reliable truck. Not much has really ever gone wrong with it. But now it's developed a bona fide issue. And that issue is the power windows. They don't work intermittently. And it's both of them that fail when they fail. So I know we're not dealing with a motor issue, or we're probably not dealing with a motor issue anyway. Now, these trucks are notorious for this kind of a problem, and usually it's one of three things. Usually it's either the GEM module, or the retained accessory power relay, or the bundle of wires that passes from the body to the driver's door. There's that little accordion thing in there, and the bundle of wires in there, after opening and closing, they bend so many times, you know, over the 25 years or so this truck's been alive, that they break. Today we're going to set about the process of figuring out what's going on. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a strange video because currently they work. You see, for the past maybe week or so, the power windows have been completely dead. One time I started it and they worked for the entire time I was driving the truck, and then they went back to not working. This is an intermittent issue now. So they haven't worked for about a week. And today I got my camera equipment out, my test gear out, got everything ready to go to make this video, hopped in the truck, damn, things work just fine. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set this video up, and I'm gonna get all the information that I can dump on you guys, the way we're gonna be troubleshooting this, and at least we can see it in its working state. And I'll show you the wiring diagram and all that stuff, how we're gonna troubleshoot it. And then when they die again, I'll bust the camera out real quick and I'll show you all the points that we're testing. The first step here is going to be, let me get you in front of a laptop and let's look at the OE wiring diagram for this truck, and I'll show you how the power flows from the battery all the way into the driver's window switch module, because that's where it goes first. So if you unplug that driver switch module, you won't have any passenger either. So the problem is definitely on that side of the truck. Let's jump in front of the laptop, go from there. These motors, these window motors, they require basically power and ground in order to work. And that power and ground flip-flops depending on whether you want the window to spin forward to roll it up or backward to roll it down. So what we're looking for here first is, where is it getting its power? So it looks like the window switch itself, if I look at this light blue and black wire here, it has a connection between the right switch and the left switch right here. So here and here. And that connector goes up through connector 510A, which I'm assuming is the one that's on the back of the switch itself. And it goes all the way up, keeps going into the accessory delay relay. And the accessory delay relay basically is that module that keeps the lights on and the radio on and the windows working when you shut the truck off. You know how when you pull up in a parking lot, you turn the key off for about 30 seconds to a minute, you can still roll the windows up and down? Well, that's this relay here that's doing that. And if we look at this relay here, number 87, that's that light blue and black wire that we were just talking about. And it looks like that gets power from number 30, that goes all the way up into a 30 amp circuit breaker in the battery junction box area. So it says that this is hot at all times, so we can kind of follow it a little bit better now. So we have power that comes down through the red and light blue wire into connection number 30 on our relay, our accessory delay relay, that is. And when that relay is at rest, in other words, when the key's turned off and nothing's going on, this relay is connected to nothing, or this power is connected to nothing. But when the relay energizes, this connection goes from nothing over to pole 87, which basically means that it connects our red and light blue wire to number 87, which goes all the way down and becomes our light blue and black wire. So when that relay is made, we should get 12 volts at the light blue and black wire, okay? Now, what makes that connection happen? What makes this relay turn on? Well, if you don't know anything about relays, basically all they are is a switch. Just like a regular toggle switch, except they turn on and off with electricity. You see, these relays have a coil inside them, and that's denoted right here on the diagram by this little bumpy line here. That's what a coil looks like on a wiring diagram. When you pass power through a coil, that coil becomes magnetized. It just becomes a magnet. And the way these relays work is they have a very thin strip of metal inside them, and that coil is right next to them, and when that coil gets energized, it sucks that piece of metal over and makes contact with something. And that's what is going on here. Now, in order to get current to pass through a coil, we know that we need power on one side and ground on the other side. It doesn't matter which side it comes from. It's just you got to have power and ground. What we need to figure out is what controls this relay. What makes this relay turn on and turn off? Well, if you look at pole number 86, you'll see that that is a light green and white wire that moves, that goes all the way around this way and goes up through a 10 amp fuse and goes all the way up into another 50 amp fuse that is in this same battery junction box that's hot at all times. So this battery junction box feeds both sides of this. So I've got 12 volts here all the time and 12 volts here all the time. Well, if I've got 12 volts on this side of the coil, that means I need some ground in order to make the coil energized, right? So where does the ground come from? Let's figure that out. It has to come on this side, because if power is already here, then logic dictates I need ground on 85. So if I follow that, that goes all the way over here to connection number 11 on the generic electronic module, the dreaded gem, the gem of doom, the almighty gem. The gem. This is one of the things that is famous for failing on these trucks. Now, the way it looks to me, it looks like when I turn the key on, the gem module comes on and supplies ground on number 11, which energizes this coil, makes it magnetic, and yanks this connection over to from 87A connection to 87, basically letting power flow all the way down to my window module. So that means one of the tests that we'll need to do is turn the key on and see if we have 12 volts on this blue and or on this light blue and black wire, right? If we have power here, then that means we're missing something else, and the problem most likely is in the switch mechanism here somewhere. I'm fully expecting that we won't have power here. If we don't have power here, basically we're going to be looking for a break in this light blue and black wire, or we're going to be looking for the gem module to be supplying a ground to this accessory delay relay. It could just be a bad accessory delay relay. It could just be that this thing is moving over, but it's not making good contact. So that's what we're going to be looking for. We're going to see if we have power at number 4. I'm sure we won't. I'm almost positive we won't. And then we'll back up and we'll start looking to see if we have a ground at 85, if we have hot at 86, if we have hot at 30. One of those is going to be missing for sure. So we just got to figure out which one it is. Now, part of me kind of hopes it's the gem module, because I haven't seen a lot of videos out there of people having failed gem modules and actually pulling them out of the truck and physically repairing the gem module. Everybody that I've seen, they just go throw a new one at it. Well, I'm just about this deep into electronic stuff, and I have a fairly decent setup. So I would be interested to take this gem module, break it apart, and see what's actually failing. As a matter of fact, any of you F250 or whatever 350 owners out there, if you guys have a failed gem module that's just laying around in your garage or something, I'd appreciate it. I'd like to have it. I'd like to break it apart and see what it's made of. I've never been in one, and just see what fails. So my email address is down in the description area below. So hit me up if you got one. Might work out something where I get it and maybe fix it on camera. Who knows? Let's run out to the truck. Let's identify these wires. Let's find them. Let's figure out where everything lives, so that when they break again, we can quickly get in there and figure out what's going on before they start working again. Now, you guys are pretty lucky, because this is going to be a twofer video. Not only are we going to fix our issue, we're also going to do a quick tool review in the middle of it, because I had a company reach out to me and send me this vehicle probe, or the super probe thing. It's very much like the power probe, if you've seen those things, but it's kind of like a multimeter, kind of on some steroids. It has this needle that goes on it, and you connect this thing to your battery, so negative and positive, and when you connect it to your battery, you can do all kinds of interesting tests with it and stuff. One of the things that I use these things for the most, I've got a couple of these, like I said, you can actually inject voltage from here, or you can inject ground from here. And this is really handy when you're testing power windows, because you can basically hold this up to a wire, press for power, and that thing turns into 12 volts. If you're testing the other side, you can pull this thing back and this thing turns into a ground. So it makes it really, really easy to test things with it. It has a bunch of other features too. I'm going to get into that here in a minute, like diode tests and all that stuff. But we're going to be using this as part of it. I appreciate Kazi for sending this over to me. I'm going to leave a link down in the description area for an Amazon link for this. I think they're about $70 at the time of filming this video, which is late part of 2024. So, but anyway, I'll show you how to use this. I'll show you some of the things it can do along the way. Let's go to the truck. Okay, I've got my probe hooked up to the battery here, positive and negative, and we can see it's powered up and happy. These come off pretty easy. Just pull them like that, and obviously this is where our switches live. And I see that's light blue and black all day long. That's a big wire, so I'm assuming that's the power coming in. And then on this switch, I have two really big wires. I'm going to assume these are the wires that run from here all the way over to the other window motor, because they're kind of big. Be a much bigger wire because it travels a lot of distance and it holds quite a bit of amperage. So we'll take our probe, keys on, and we'll go here. If I can get on it. There we go, 11.9 volts on that wire. All right, so which one of these is up and which one is down? Okay, that's a ground. And that is got some positive to it. So let's just hit the window switch. Nothing. Nothing. Let's hit this side. So that's got a ground on it, because you can see the green there and the negatives lit up. All right, so when I go up, I get plus voltage on that wire. I would assume this one's the down one. Yeah, that's down. So, all right, so basically what I'm learning here is the top wire, when I push up on the switch, that's hot. And on this wire that I can just barely get on for some reason, when I go down, nothing. When I go down, that's voltage. Okay, so that's that window. So I'm assuming on this one, the two big ones will be power for the passenger side. So that's voltage there. That's voltage there. Okay, so that pretty much figures it out. I've got power in here, and this is 12 volts for up, and this is 12 volts for down for the driver's side. And coming over here, this is 12 volts up and 12 volts down for the passenger side. So, since the windows are working right now, and I have 12 volts on that lead right there, on that light blue and black, that tells me obviously that's where we're going to be checking. So when the windows die, this is the first place we're going to check. If this doesn't have power, then we're going to look right here and we're going to see if this has any issues going on. If that doesn't have any issues going on, then we're going to come under the hood to this. So according to my service information on this truck, circuit breaker number 25 And if we look here, we'll see that circuit breaker number 25 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 25 is the 5th one down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the circuit breaker that goes and feeds one side of that accessory relay in the truck. And fuse number 22, so if we look up fuse number 22, that's the 3rd from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3 is supposed to be this 50 amp maxi fuse here. This feeds the control side of that same relay inside the truck in the central junction box. Let's look at the central junction box real quick. That's the box that's going to be right behind this panel here. And of course, if you don't already know this, to get this panel off, you take these screws and turn them half a turn and they pop out. And hopefully you don't have all that going on, but I do. So there's the central junction box. It's got a cover you can pop off of it. And here are the relays. And according to my service information, this is the accessory delay relay, the one that we were looking at on that diagram earlier. So that's here. This relay is actually warm. Actually, a couple of these are a little bit warm, but not much else going on until we actually have a problem. And right now, we don't have a problem. So as soon as the truck starts exhibiting a problem again, we'll jump into it, do our troubleshooting steps, and we'll see where it leads. So stand by just a minute. All right, well, fast forward about probably 3 weeks or so, and the truck's doing the same thing again. Both windows are dead. They don't do anything. I don't get any clicks, just graveyard dead, like dead. Jimmy Hoffa dead. Today, I think we're just going to fly in here and just fix the whole damn thing. I'm going to put 2 window motors in the thing because, well, I mean, they're slow and they're old and they've been in there. I'm pretty sure they're original. And especially when it's kind of cool outside, they're just super slow to go up and down. So we're going to replace those while we're already in here digging around with stuff. Let's get this door panel apart and let's see what's going on. Also, I've gone ahead and put a battery charger on here because, well, it's kind of, the batteries suck. So we're going to keep the batteries charged up while we're doing this little project. So, pop that off again. Pretty easy. Getting these door panels off. All of these just have squeezy tabs. And you don't necessarily have to pull this off. It'll fit down the door, but I'm filming it, so it'll be a whole lot easier to see if we just pull it off and just tuck all these wires back down here like this. Also, this guy up here, this just pulls off. It's held on with a couple of clips there. And we're gonna have a screw here, and then back here where this light is, we're gonna have a screw here. And I think that's it. I believe that's all I remember there being. There's not a whole lot that hold these on, so let me grab looks like a big flat screwdriver in my case. This is not the right fastener. This truck came to me pre-molested, so. I think that's just going into plastic anyway. I don't even think that's going into anything substantial. And this light here, it just pops out, but be gentle with it because they tend to break right there really easily. That should be I believe it's an 8mm right there. I believe it's a 7mm right there. Yep, 7mm. Now with these door panels, you're supposed to just grab and lift like this, and they just pop right off. Now keep in mind, there's the courtesy light back here, and you'll have to pop that out of its little holder first. Right there. That's the door panel. Mine still has a vapor barrier on it, so that's good. We'll have to glue this back on when we're done. Looks like my speaker has gotten under it. So I believe those are 5.5, is that right? 5.5s? Yeah, 5.5mm. Little Infinity reference speakers. I think I have a video of putting these in the truck. No, if I'm not mistaken, I do. All right. Now, fellas, you want to be careful with this vapor barrier. You want to save it if you can. Wouldn't seem like it does much, but keeps all the wind down. I think I'm just going to fold it down right there and just leave it folded. No point in completely taking it off if you don't have to. Okay, we have our handy dandy little power probe back out here. Again, super handy tool for doing stuff like this. I'll leave a link down in the description. I really appreciate Kaiser sending me this. Thanks very much, guys. I've got a couple of these. I keep them in all my vehicles because they're just really handy. They beat the heck out of a test light. All right, key on. The beeping will go away in a second. This blue wire is supposed to have voltage and doesn't have voltage. Remember me telling you how handy these things were? Because right now this is just a multimeter basically, or basically a test light. So if I put this against something that has power, it'll show me there's power. And if I put this against something that's ground, it'll show me that there's ground. See the green for ground, and it's beeping because there's, you know, ground there. This wire right here, this blue wire, we looked at it in the diagram. This is the one that comes from the accessory or one touch down relay, I believe. And basically it's supposed to be hot. This is what supplies power to all the switches on this truck. And we know right now that the key's on and I have nothing at all. So dead. So I can put this probe on here and of course nothing's happening, no ground, no power, dead. I can push up on this and I can actually make that tip turn into 12 volts positive. Basically like a quick little test. So if I do that and I give it 12 volts positive and I push down on the window, look at that, look at that. I have up and down control on the window just by giving power there. So what does that tell me? That tells me that the switches are good. The motor is good. Well, let me test the other motor though and make sure. I didn't really test that one. You can probably hear it behind you. As long as I put power here, then I get both switches doing their job. So that tells me that I'm not getting power to the window switch. So according to the service information that I pulled up, these relays here are the two that have to do with the power windows basically. This one is the accessory delay relay. So basically this is the relay that keeps your power windows and things working after you turn the truck off for like, I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute, something like that. This one is the one touch down relay. And the one touch down relay is basically when you push this switch down, that extra click into auto, it basically latches that relay and keeps the windows going all the way down. This relay keeps the windows going down until they bottom. Just that express down feature of them. This is where we're going to start. We're going to see what we have on each one of these, and hopefully this will point us in the right direction to see whether it's here or somewhere else. Well, since we know we don't have any power right here, this is the connector at the power window switches. We can see that that light blue and black wire is fed all the way up from the accessory delay relay on pole number 87 or terminal 87. So the accessory delay relay is the first place we want to check. We want to make sure that pole 30 or terminal 30 is being fed with 12 volts from this circuit breaker up in the battery junction box, because that's what is responsible for making the connection all the way down. And we also want to make sure that connections 86 and 87, which would be called the control side of the relay, have the proper control signals. Again, that would be plus 12 volts on terminal 86, which is fed through this light green wire all the way down from this 10 amp fuse and all the way up from this 50 amp fuse in the battery junction box. So if that is being fed with 12 volts, then it is up to the generic electric module, or the GEM, to provide a ground signal off of its pin 11, and that ground signal basically energizes this relay and makes this connection happen. We need power here, ground here. If those three conditions are met, then this relay should switch and provide power down through this light blue and black wire. All right, so that is this bottom one here, the accessory delay relay. So that's it. And you can look on the bottom of these, you might be able to tell that we have our terminals labeled on the bottom of this. This one is terminal number 30 right here. So this one should be hot all the time. So we're going to take this and we're going to see if it's hot. We need to be able to get in there and test, but all these terminals are quite a ways down in there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this relay and we're going to install it into a relay breakout board. Let me show you that. This is a relay breakout kit. Lyle makes this one. I think I picked this one up at, like, I don't know, O'Reilly Advance, somewhere like that. I bought this one. If you work on cars and you don't have one of these, get you one of these to make it easier to work on cars. You have all the things that you need in here. And again, I bought this. This is not a sponsored product, but I am going to leave a link down there for you guys, because this right here is the handiest thing probably that's ever been made in the entire world. We find the relay type that we have. Looks a lot like that one. See those legs there? They look just like the one we have now. And we can take this and we can plug it in like that. And basically it gives us test points on here, and they're even labeled. So terminal number 30 is the second pin in. So we can plug this in the truck and then we can have test points to see what the heck this relay's doing. All right, we have our breakout installed. It's back in the truck and even the relay's back on it. We're going to turn the key on, wait for the beeping to go away. All right, and terminal 30 is supposed to be hot. And our meter tells us that, yep, it's hot. So we've got our 12 volts. In fact, that's supposed to be hot at all times, and it is. So that takes care of 30. When the relay is actually made, or when it happens, 87 should become hot, and that's this very center pin here is 87. So what that means is we've tested to this point right here, and we do have power there. That's what we just saw. So now we're going to switch over into 87, and we're going to see if this relay has actually made the switch or not. If it's working correctly, we should have 12 volts falling out of 87, but we probably won't because we don't have power here, and this is just a single piece of wire that goes up. So we'll pop that back in there. Turn the key back on, let some dinging happen. And I have nothing on there. So this relay is not actually turning on. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could be that the gem module is not telling the relay, not providing a ground to turn it on. At rest, 87A, this one, should have voltage, and it does. So we have voltage on 30, we have voltage on 87A, which is its at rest state, it doesn't go to anything. And right now, we should have voltage right here, and we do not. So if I go here, and I give it voltage with my meter, I should have window control, and I do. And I don't when I let go of the button. So basically I've manually put power to the output side of this relay and my windows work. So that tells me my wiring's probably good going through the pinch welds. Let's look at the control side of this relay now. That's the next important thing. Remember, the control side of the relay is here, terminals 86 and 85. Remember that terminal 86 is fed full-time 12 volts all the way from the battery junction box through two fuses, a 50 and a 10. So I should have voltage there, and I should have ground here, which comes from the gem module, energizing this relay. Key is still on from before, so we should have power on 86, and we do. And I'm showing some, I don't know if that's transient voltage or what there, but it's 0.9 of a volt on that side. But I'm showing 12.7 from that side. So that's a little bit inconclusive. I think what we're going to do here is we're just going to swap the relay, because it looks like I have about everything that I need. I'm a little suspect on that terminal 85 from the gem. It almost doesn't look like it's sending voltage or ground to me. So this is the relay in question. I'm going to take, this is the horn relay. I'm going to pull the horn relay and I'm going to put this in the spot for the horn. Oh look, no horn. Do we have a bad relay? So here's the horn relay. We'll put it back in where the windows come from. That's it. Basically what I've proven here is a bad relay. So it doesn't work in the horn spot, but it does work in that spot. So I'm in the market for a new relay. No problem, I keep some in stock. So I guess the only thing to do next is let's pull this window motor and let's go ahead and replace it with the new one that I got. I know that it looks kind of fast right now, but you see, but it's got some slow to it, and especially when it gets cold. I'm gonna re-grease all these tracks too, because I'm sure that grease is getting pretty junky by now. See how you have to just keep doing that to get them to work? So we're gonna replace that real quick too. Found these. Actually, look around out there. Some dealerships still carry these. They're discontinued. And you can get the cheap ones on Amazon, but fellas, it's like this. Every window motor that I've ever bought cheap on Amazon or eBay or wherever like that, all of them have failed. And most of the time it's gear problems. The gears strip out because they're just made of cheap plastic. So I gave up. You can look around and you can still find Ford dealers out there that stock these. I think one of these came from like Wisconsin and one came from like Iowa, both Ford dealerships that just happen to have old stock on the shelf. So if you have this in your future and you want to replace them with Ford parts, I would say get them now because the supply is drying up. Both dealerships that I went to only had one. So I got one for the driver, one for the passenger. These motors do still somewhat work. So you know me, I'm going to put them in the container with all my other 7.3 parts, just in case in the future I have to emergency jam a window motor in something. At least I've got them. You can see the motor right there. We'll just unplug it, just like that. And you'll see some screws. 1, 2, 3. Let's pull those 3 screws off, and hopefully with any kind of luck, that will give us the ability to pull that motor off the back side. See how that works. Those look to be 8mm. They are. It'll be that one we drop in the door. Got it. All right, will this come off? Yes, it will. All right, there's our motor. All its glory. Oh, look. I believe that is the original motor, Meritor Automotive, which was a manufacturer of parts, electrical parts for Ford, 425 of 2000. So that's probably an OG motor. All right, bolted up. Let's just see if we have any better action. That pop sounds good, doesn't it? Look how much faster they are. Wow. Wait, you can't, can you see that? Here, let me demonstrate again. You know what I think? I think it's too tight down here at the bottom. So this back track here has an adjustment. Here's what's going on. When this window goes down, you can see this track push out. It's almost like the track is too narrow front and back. So I'm thinking that maybe I can loosen this, possibly, and move that back some. Let's try that. Ooh, that was a lot. Let's don't move it that much. Let's try that. What does that look like? Well, it still gets really slow at the bottom, doesn't it? I wonder if these are just getting kind of gross. I wonder if I can just spray a little bit of lube in there and try to clean that up. Because it goes fast until it gets to right there. And you can look, can see that it looks like it's just gripping too much. Yeah. Yeah, let's grease it up. This is penetrating oil. It's not the right stuff, but it's what I've got on the shelf. I wonder if I can just get that in the track. Let's try that. See how that works. Still think this this track is bent or something. Let's try that. Oh, look at that. That was the fix right there. That's what it was. That was the ultimate fix for it right there. When this window was going down, I could see it pushing this track out, and I could see the door bending in right there. So I basically just reached in there and grabbed a hold of that track and bent it out some like this way. That cleaned it right up. Now you'll see it doesn't do that. Goes right down, and it's so fast now. What about one touch? That's it. Wow, I fixed my windows. I'm going to take a second also, and I'm going to put a little bit more grease in this track here because I feel like it needs it. Yep, once again, the wrong way of doing the right thing. Yeah, I would say that's a great window right there. All right, put it back together, and that'll be one window fixed. All right, driver's side's put together. Jump in here and knock this side out. Have two good working windows again. Well, there it is, guys. Got our windows back up and going, got some new window motors in it, and another 7.3 video in the books. Guys, I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about us. Guys, I'll see you next.